8:45. This is a Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by J. Yogaraj and read by Lavani Vijayatunga. First, we take a look at the headlines. The President reveals plans for an AI-driven agricultural transformation in Sri Lanka. The IMF highlights Sri Lanka's commendable steady economic growth. 1.6 billion rupees allocated this year for setting up 160 villages. Special traffic plan for War Heroes Day ceremony. Economic Transformation Bill and Public Financial Management Bill to be tabled in the Parliament. Landslide warnings issued for several districts due to the prevailing inclement weather conditions. And also advisories issued for heavy rain, strong winds and rough seas. In news overseas, Japan to offer yen loans to the Philippines for large 5 patrol ships. And in sports news, Sri Lanka under-19 team to tour England in June. Those are the headlines, and now let's move on to the details of the local news. President Ranil Wickremesinghe today announced plans to transform Sri Lanka's agricultural sector using modern technology, including artificial intelligence, and to support private sector entrepreneurs interested in this initiative. He stated that this year, 100 divisional secretariat divisions have been selected for agricultural modernization. The President made these announcements while observing the first AI-driven greenhouse in Sri Lanka, AI Grow, built by Dr. Harsha Subasinghe in Nelandeniya in Kagala this morning. The National War Heroes Day ceremony is to be held on Sunday the 19th evening at the parliamentary grounds, and a special traffic plan to be implemented on that day was announced by the police today. Accordingly, the entry and exit lanes towards the Parliament Road are closed from Polduva Junction to Kiaham Junction from 3 p.m. on May 19th. The motorists are therefore advised to use the alternate routes during the closure of the above roads. Addressing a press briefing held yesterday in Washington, D.C., the director of the IMF Communications Unit, Julie Kozak, said that with respect to Sri Lanka's economic performance, macroeconomic policies in Sri Lanka are starting to bear fruits. Commendable outcomes include a rapid decline in inflation, robust reserve accumulation, and initial signs of economic growth, while also preserving stability in the financial system. The overall program performance has been strong. The IMF staff and the Sri Lankan authorities have reached a staff-level agreement on the economic policies to conclude the second review of the 4-year EFF-supported program and the year 2024 Article 4 consultation. Once the review is approved by the IMF management and completed by the IMF Executive Board, Sri Lanka will have access to about $337 million in financing, she added. The IMF Communications Director further stated that the completion of the review by the Executive Board of the IMF requires two things: the implementation of the authority of the agreed prior actions and completion of the financing assurances review. The Economic Transformation Bill and the Public Financial Management Bill will be presented to the Parliament on Wednesday, the 22nd of May, according to the Secretary-General of Parliament, Kushani Roganadira. Issuing a statement, she said that the Parliament is scheduled to convene on Wednesday, the 22nd May. This has been decided by the Committee on the Parliamentary Business, chaired by Speaker Mahinda Yapabewardena, during its meeting held on the 14th of May. Accordingly, the Parliamentary session is scheduled to commence on the 22nd at 9:30 a.m., while the Economic Transformation Bill and the Public Finance Management Bill are slated to be presented to the Parliament on that day for the first reading. The General Secretary further stated that the Committee on Parliamentary Business has decided to hold the debate on the adjournment motion presented by the opposition from 9:45 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. This is a news from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. And we continue with more local news. Landslide warning is issued for several districts due to the prevailing inclement weather conditions. Haldamulla, Habutale, Alla, Badulla and Halialla Division Secretariats in the Badulla District, Aglavata Division Secretariat in the Kalatara District, Yatinura, Udunura, Udapalata Division Secretariats in the Kandy District, Mavanalla, Bulatkohupitiya, Galigamua, Yadiantota, Dehiovita, Varakapala and Kagala Division Secretariats in the Kagala District, Mavatakama Division Secretariat in Kurnagala District, and Ukuvala and Rathod Division Secretariats in the Matale Districts are issued with level 1 warning. During this year, the Ministry of Agriculture and Plantation Industries has taken up steps to allocate an amount of 1.6 billion rupees, establish 160 villages in 25 districts with 6 youth agri-entrepreneurship villages in each district. Accordingly, the program to establish 160 youth agri-entrepreneurship villages covering all 25 districts of the island is being implemented, and the arrangements have been made to provide the amount of 1 million rupees each to village under the first phase, Mr. Maida Amaravira, Minister of Agriculture and Plantation Industries, stated. The aim of this program is to attract the youth community to agriculture and to introduce them to new agricultural technology, to carry out agricultural activities, targeting local markets and exports, and to direct the youth community to agricultural products that are in high demand. A discussion was held yesterday regarding the Youth Agricultural Entrepreneurship Village Program at the Hector Begado Agricultural Research and Training Institute. The discussion was chaired by Minister of Agriculture and Plantation Industries, Mr. Maida Amaravira, and the officials of the said ministry, as well as the provincial agricultural officials and the officials of the institution affiliated to the ministry participated. The approval of the cabinet has been received for this program, and the government has given all the necessary financial allocations for this year. Accordingly, an amount of 1.6 billion rupees has been planned to be given to the youth to the agri-entrepreneurship villages. And to conclude the local news, the headlines once again. The President reveals plans for an AI-driven agricultural transformation in Sri Lanka. The IMF highlights Sri Lanka's commendable steady economic growth. 1.6 billion rupees allocated this year for setting up 160 villages. Special traffic plan for War Heroes Day ceremony. Economic Transformation Bill and Public Finance Management Bill to be tabled in the Parliament. Landslide warning is issued for several districts due to the prevailing inclement weather conditions. An advisory is issued for heavy rain, strong winds and rough seas. And that was the local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
The main news story for tonight, the Economic Transformation Bill and the Public Finance Management Bill will be presented to the Parliament on Wednesday, the 22nd of May, according to the Secretary General of Parliament, Kushani Rohanadira. Issuing a statement, she said that the Parliament is scheduled to convene on Wednesday, the 22nd of May. And that was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
And in Watchlight tonight, the Department of Meteorology has issued an advisory for heavy rain, strong winds and rough seas for the sea areas extending from Kalpitiya to Bothuville via Colombo, Galle and Hambantota. The sea areas extending from Kalpitiya to Bothuville via Colombo, Galle and Hambantota will be rough at times with strong gusty winds up to 70 km per hour, the department warned. Showers or thunder showers will occur at times in these sea areas, and heavy showers may occur at times, it said, while urging the naval and fishing communities to be attentive in this regard. Meanwhile, the Met Department has also issued an advisory for strong winds and rough seas for the naval and fishing communities in the deep sea areas in the southeastern Arabian Sea. The Meteorology Department warns that strong winds accompanied with heavy rainfall and very strong rough seas are expected to enhance during the next few days over the sea areas around the country and over the southeastern sea areas. And that came to you in Watchlight. Now let's move on to the headlines of the world news. Putin to visit bilateral trade expo in China in show of growing economic ties. Japan to offer yen loans to the Philippines for 5 large patrol ships. Cambodia, China hold joint military drills. Those are the headlines, and now let's move on to the details of the world news. Russia's President Vladimir Putin arrived in Harbin in northeastern China on Friday to attend a trade expo organized by the two governments. The city of Harbin in Zhejiang province, which shares a border with Russia, has strong ties with Moscow. Chinese government officials say that more than 1,400 companies will participate. Putin apparently intends to highlight the growing economic ties between Russia and China by attending the expo featuring businesses from both countries. Japan has signed an agreement to provide 5 large patrol ships to the Philippines to be financed with yen loans. The Philippines Secretary of Finance Affairs, Enrique Manalo, and Japanese Ambassador Endo Kazuki took part in a signing ceremony held in Manila on Friday. Under the agreement, Japan will cover the procurement with official development assistance loans worth more than 64 billion yen or about $410 million. Cambodia and China have kicked off their annual military exercise as concerns grow in the U.S. about Beijing's increasing influence in the Southeast Asian nation. Cambodia's military officials say that this year's Golden Dragon drills got underway on the 16th of May in the country's Kampong Chang and Sinhala provinces. More than 1,300 personnel from Cambodia and 700 from China are taking part in these exercises, which run through May 30th. 14 warships will be deployed along with the helicopters and other advanced weapons. And that was world news.
Development news.
And in development news, 2 cruise ships docked at Hambantota International Port on 15th May. MV Silver Cloud, owned by Silver Seas Cruises, the luxury brand of the Royal Caribbean Group, arrived from Cochin carrying 232 passengers, while TUI's main ship 5, arriving from Langkawi, carried 2,434 passengers. A group of passengers from main ship 5 did their customary e-bike tour in Hambantota. The e-bikes were organized in line with HIP's Green Port Drive. And that came to you in the segment of development news.
Moving on with sports news.
The Sri Lanka under-19 team is set to tour England on the 19th of June for 3 unofficial ODIs and 2 4-day games, with preparations already underway, according to a senior official from Sri Lanka Cricket. This tour is a part of the team's build-up for the next year's ICC Under-19 World Cup, scheduled to be held in the year 2026 in Namibia and Zimbabwe. Vinodhan John, chairman of the National Junior Selection Committee, along with the members Shane Fernando, Duminda Wickramasinghe, Varno Varagoda and Hassan Fernando, are diligently working on selecting the best players for the under-19 team. That is the sports news, business news coming up.
Go ekak thiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු වීන හැබැයි කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Strong net profit growth in the final quarter for the year 2023-24 has enabled TJ Lanka PLC to end the financial year on an optimistic note, despite the impacts of the appreciation of the rupee, which contributed to its 12-month results falling below those of the preceding year. Sri Lanka's first multinational textile manufacturer has reported a net profit of 549.1 million rupees for the 3 months ending 31st March, up to 260% over the corresponding quarter of the previous year and 15% improvement over the preceding quarter. That was the business news. Economic news follows.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekak thiyana youth එකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු වීන හැබැයි කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
In economic news, India has been the leading economic partner and the largest contributor to tourist traffic to Sri Lanka, Indian High Commissioner Santosh Jha said, addressing the phone fee launch at the ITC Ratnadeepa Colombo. Sri Lanka's national payment network, Lanka Pay, announced its partnership with Payphone, one of India's most popular fintech apps, towards accepting UPI payments at Lanka QR merchant points. He said in the year 2023, more than 300,000 Indian tourists travelled to Sri Lanka, which was 20.36% of the tourists coming into Sri Lanka. With the launch of the UPI QR-based payments in Sri Lanka, Indians coming to Sri Lanka will enable them to use, and that will not only provide an ease and convenience them, but also help the country's economy, he said. Over 40 million people use the internet in Sri Lanka, and when considering the total population of 21.86 million, it is a very high penetration of 67%, Mr. Channa De Silva, CEO of Lanka Pay, told the phone fee launch. That was the economic news and the weather report to conclude.
Weather report.
And finally, the weather report. The Met Department says showery and windy conditions are expected to enhance during the next few days from today evening due to the pre-monsoonal condition over the country and the surrounding sea areas. Showers or thunder showers will occur at times in the western, Sabaragamuwa, northwestern and north central provinces and in the Kandy, Nuwara Eliya, Galle and Matara districts. Showers or thunder showers will occur at several places elsewhere of the island after 12 noon. Heavy showers above 100 millimeters are likely at some places in the western, Sabaragamuwa and northwestern provinces and in the Galle and Matara districts. Strong winds up to 40 km per hour can be expected at times over the island. This weather report was published this evening at 7:30 p.m. and further details could be obtained by visiting the official website of the department. And before we conclude this bulletin, let's get back to the headlines once again. The President reveals plans for AI-driven agricultural transformation in Sri Lanka. The IMF highlights Sri Lanka's commendable steady economic growth. 1.6 billion rupees allocated this year for setting up 160 villages. Special traffic plan for War Heroes Day ceremony. Economic Transformation Bill and Public Finance Management Bill to be tabled in the Parliament. Landslide warnings issued for several districts due to the prevailing inclement weather conditions and advisory issued for heavy rain, strong winds and rough seas. In news overseas, Japan to offer yen loans to the Philippines for 5 large patrol ships. And in sports news, Sri Lanka under-19 team to tour England in June. And with that, we conclude this bulletin of news. Now it's back to your regular Friday evening host, our good friend Saudi, on the other side of the glass panel to keep you entertained.